This is the most contested border in Spain. We've left Europe, we're now in Africa, but we haven't left Spain. This is Ceuta, Spain's African exclave and the African gateway to the European Union.
Los niños chicos empiezan a nadar, ¿sabes?
They try and swim.
Porque hay mucha corriente y hace ¡puf! Muerto.
Oh, muerte. Every week, several people die trying to swim across from Morocco to Spain. Yeah, that's the harsh reality of this frontera. Ceuta is a city on the edge. Geographically in North Africa, but politically part of Spain, this African exclave is separated from Europe by the strategic Straits of Gibraltar. It occupies just 20 square kilometers of land, bordered by Morocco and surrounded on three sides by the Mediterranean Sea. But this geopolitical anomaly holds thousands of years of contested human history within its medieval walls and barbed wire fences. To the ancient Greeks, Ceuta was a pillar of Hercules. The Phoenicians, Romans and Portuguese all left their mark before Ceuta was absorbed into the Spanish Empire 5 centuries ago. Claimed by Morocco since their independence in 1956, Ceuta's border is wrapped in razor wire and lined with watchtowers. This is the European Union's African frontier, a place where ideals of free movement and human rights are tested daily, a flashpoint in the EU's never-ending migrant crisis. I wanted to know what it's like to live on the edge of 2 continents, at the heart of a long-standing territorial dispute. It was time to visit Ceuta. Alright, it's a very early morning here in the Mediterranean port city of Algeciras. Now, we've been up since 5 a.m. I'm not much of a morning person, which you might tell from my haggard look. But if there's one thing that will get me up before the sunrise, it's a little adventure to a geopolitical oddity. I'm going to be hopping on a Balearia ferry for the 1-hour trip across the Straits of Gibraltar to Spain's African exclave. So as before, I'll be joined by Claire's footsteps, who I think has had even less sleep than me. Unfortunately. But we're really excited for this one. This is one of the reasons we've come down to Algeciras, a little border city, a little frontier city. It's a big transport hub on the ferry routes to Morocco and to Spain's African exclave of Ceuta. We got an hour to check in, and yeah, hopefully in a while, after some coffee, we'll be a little bit more energized, because this is going to be an interesting one. So we could have flown there in the helicopter. What am I saying? In their helicopter. Wow. Claire's laughing at me for some reason. Delirious with lack of sleep. So just at the entrance to the port now. It turns out you can take a helicopter as well. It must be like a 10-minute hop. It's only 1 hour on the ferry. I think it's like a fast catamaran, possibly. We'll find out in a second. Ceuta is just a little Spanish city, really, on the North African coastline. It's got the Mediterranean Sea on one side. It's a port, but then the rest of it's surrounded entirely by Morocco. So it is a little piece of Spain in Africa, and we're interested in finding out a little bit more about why it's there, how it came to be, and why the Moroccans want it back. All right. Oh no, it's open. Hola.
Hola.
Vamos a Ceuta?
A Ceuta 7. Sí.
Ceuta this way. Hola. It's loads of locals, I think, heading over with lots of suitcases and stuff they've purchased on the mainland. We're getting on board now, so let's check out this ship. Hey. Nice. Welcome to the Avamar Dos, our Balearia vessel that will take us across to Africa. I'm not much of a ferry reviewer. Can follow Claire's footsteps for that. She's much better at that. I'm more into the geopolitics of this on this trip. But it is a very fine vessel as far as I'm concerned. You got some nice little faux leather seats. There's a little canteen behind us where you can get pan con tomate. So as soon as we're getting away across the Straits of Gibraltar, going to have a bit of desayuno, a bit of breakfast, and some coffee. And yeah, it's only a 1 hour voyage, so what more do you need? All right, breakfast time. So for €5.50, you get the desayuno, which includes pan au chocolat, coffee, and a lovely little refreshing pineapple juice. So hopefully this will wake us up a bit, kick starters, and by the time we make it to the Spanish exclave, we'll be roaring to delve into its history and a modern identity. All right, that's it, we're off. Wasn't even an announcement. Fucking hell. Whoa.
Lucky, isn't it?
All over the place.
Do you want the orange juice?
Oh my god. Boats getting all over the place. Just walked past the toilet, so people just chundering
Oh, really?
all over it. Yeah.
Oh, really?
People are out on the deck as well, just thrown up over the sides. Really bad. I don't know if it's this bad. I went out on the deck and it's proper windy and the boat's moving around like this. The waves are pretty big out there at the moment.
This is the rockiest Mediterranean ferry I've ever been on. I've been on quite a few.
Oh, thank God we have made it any longer. And with all the rocking, I think I would have been in the toilet too. All right, vamos. Back on dry land, and we've crossed the Straits of Gibraltar, and we're now in Ceuta. Ceuta has been Spanish for almost 500 years, but Moroccans claim sovereignty over Ceuta. So I'm really intrigued to be here because nationalities often become more defined on borders. We found that when we were in Gibraltar. When you've got another nation close to you claiming sovereignty over your territory, you often become more nationalistic, more patriotic than people perhaps on the mainland. So I'm intrigued to find out if Ceuta is more Spanish than the mainland, or if there's a more multicultural feel to the place. Now, based on what we saw on the boat, a lot of people were actually speaking Arabic, and a lot of people were dressed in more Islamic clothing or in Moroccan outfits as well. So I'm wondering if there's actually more of a multicultural community here. Now, the plan is we're going to meet up with a local tour guide, and they are going to hopefully show us around and offer us some insights into Ceuta's history and into what it's like to live here. Now, first impression, this is definitely Spain. There's a giant Spanish flag flying outside the port. Now, interestingly, the Vox Party, who are like the Spanish nationalist right-wing party, have a huge presence in Ceuta. I think that's because this is the gateway to the European Union. I've seen news reports of migrants, sub-Saharan migrants and refugees from across Africa who basically use Ceuta. They cross the frontier here as a way to get into the European Union. Some people call this the back door into the EU or the gateway to Europe. And there are huge problems on the frontier with migrants. There's been some pretty nasty incidents there as well, where the Spanish police have been pretty brutal dealing with the migrant communities crossing. But also, Ceuta has the largest Muslim and Arabic-speaking population in Spain as well. It'll be interesting to see just the kind of people we meet, the people we see.
Hello, my name is Tony Paulete, and I am a touristic guide here in Ceuta. I work for the town hall, and I was born here, and I used to make this work every day. Not like this, because usually we stay in the office and receive people, but today we have a special day and we are visiting the downtown. Royal Walls, the Africa's Square, and Main Street.
So yeah, that's Tony. She's a Ceuta local, and she's going to be showing us around her home city today. These walls are impressive. Look at them. They purpose-built this moat to basically separate the entire peninsula from the rest of Africa. It was very much a fortress city, a bit like Gibraltar. And sprayed by the watermen.
From here we can see, the part that we have on the left side is the oldest part of the Royal Walls. It's from 16th century and it's from Portuguese period. You know, the building that we have just opposite is the bastion of the flag, because all the time we have the Spanish flag at the top, like
yep.
the symbol of, you know, we are a Spanish city. And this one is like this. You can see there is a wall over there. This is properly called the Royal Wall. Just in the middle we have the Royal Moat. This moat is navigable since Portuguese people arrived at Ceuta, because at the beginning we have a moat, but it was dry. You know, it was the cut in the land, but without water. And when Portuguese people arrived, they decided to make it navigable, because in that ages they were sailors.
So Tony was explaining how Ceuta really has a history dating back to the ancient times. The Phoenicians are here, the Romans were here, and the name Ceuta comes from the Roman name, the Latin name for the region, which was Scepter, referring to the 7 hills that they have found across the peninsula. Now, for a long period of history after the Roman Empire fell, this eventually became a Moorish possession.
So when did Ceuta become a Spanish city?
Yeah, in the 15th century, exactly in 1415, Portuguese people arrived to conquer the city.
Yeah.
Oh, so the
And-
Portuguese came before the Spanish?
Yeah, of course.
Ah, okay.
In 1415, Portuguese people, John I of Portugal, with some of their children, one of them very famous, it's Henry the Navigator, Henry the, you know?
Yeah,
Have you
I've
ever
heard of him,
about
yeah.
this one? And they arrived in 1415 and conquered the city. It wasn't a bloody conquer, because when we arrived at Ceuta, in a few hours, people decided that, you know, why are we going to fight against these people? And we decided to stay like this and make, you know, we get Portuguese in that ages. After that, with Felipe II, the King of Spain, the Kingdom of Spain, Castilla in that moment, and Portugal joined. And in that moment, with Felipe II, we began to be half Portuguese and half Spanish. Okay. And after that, with Felipe IV, the Spanish king, Portugal got independent of the Kingdom of Spain. And here in Ceuta, we had the opportunity to decide if we wanted to stay with Portugal or with Spain. And they decided to stay with Spain more or less in 1640.
Okay.
So we
okay.
begins to be Spanish till today,
yeah.
in
Yeah.
17th century.
So we're just exploring Ceuta's city walls, which were mostly built either by the Spanish or the Portuguese. I didn't realize that it was Portuguese before it was Spanish, but then the two kingdoms, the two kings of Spain and Portugal, kind of joined the crowns for a while. And then when Portugal became independent, Ceuta decided that it didn't want to be Portuguese anymore, it wanted to be Spanish, because there'd been large numbers of Spanish immigrants and migration to the city. So from the 1600s, 1640, around then, it's been Spanish. So for the last almost 400 years. Does Morocco still claim that Ceuta should be theirs?
Yeah, it's all the time.
All the time?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that when they have a problem, for example, imagine, some years ago, I don't know how many, when the king decided to give like a birthday present to his oldest son a jet, a private jet. I'm going to, you know, to give him a private jet just for birthday present. And, you know, the people don't like this, because in Morocco, I don't know, have you ever been in Morocco?
A long time ago.
Okay,
Yeah.
in Morocco there are not middle class. There are people very rich and people that
very poor.
are very poor, usually. So when he decided to make a birthday present like this, people don't like it, of course.
Yeah.
And in that moment, doesn't matter. We are going to ask for Ceuta and Melilla.
Oh,
And people,
really?
you know, think about this and don't think about the other things.
Yeah, they
that
forget about
are
the
really
real
important.
problems. Yeah.
He's living, you know, in Paris and
Yeah. So when it suits them, when it's for politics and
Yeah, of
gain,
course,
they say,
of course.
"Oh, we need Ceuta back."
I didn't go to Morocco since maybe 8 or 9 years ago.
Oh, really?
really?
It's so close
Because
as well.
yeah, but the last time I went, exactly we were talking about Madrid.
Yeah.
We went to Madrid to visit my father-in-law, and when we come back, the flight was perfect, From Madrid to Tangier 1 hour.
Yeah.
I took my car 1 hour from Tangier to the border with
Yeah.
my car. And when we arrived, the police told me, no, not this way. You have to go to the queue. And the queue was till the first village that you have when you cross the border, Castillejo.
Yeah.
So we stayed 3 hours and a half
Wow.
to cross, I don't know, maybe 500 meters or
That's
800
mental.
meters.
Crazy. Yeah.
3 hours and a half.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have made 2 hours from Madrid to Ceuta.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I decided, I know Morocco, I have been in the desert, I know Rabat, Fez,
Yeah.
Marrakech.
Yeah.
I'm not going to Morocco anymore.
fair
Not at
enough.
the moment. Maybe
Yeah.
tomorrow I
Yeah.
decided to change. But at the moment it's terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's crazy.
In half an hour,
Yeah.
and sometimes you have to stay in your car there 3 hours and a half.
Yeah, I can
Oh,
imagine.
really?
So it's terrible.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's now, at the moment it's like this. Many years ago, it was a special line just for people from Ceuta.
Oh, okay.
And even I had a house with my friends very near from here on the beach. A nice, house with a lovely beach. And I used to go every weekend.
Yeah.
Finish my work, take my car, and go just to the beach and
Yeah.
come back at night. It doesn't matter. But at the moment, that is impossible
Oh,
because
really?
you can
Right.
cross
Yeah, they have a little
Oh, so there's a lot of
or
problems.
stay
Yeah.
Yeah.
hours and hours. You know that Morocco became a country,
Yeah.
an independent country,
Yeah.
in 1956.
Yeah, of course.
So
Yeah.
we have been Spanish
Yeah.
many
But
years
yeah,
Yeah.
no,
before.
that's very true. That's
But
very true.
I don't like to argue about
Yeah,
this.
of
Yeah.
course,
Not
of
with
course.
people from Morocco, of course.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not on either the Moroccan side or the Spanish side, but one of the Spanish arguments for Ceuta being Spanish is not just that the people here see themselves as Spanish, but that Ceuta has actually been part of Spain for many centuries before Morocco was even an independent nation. Now, that brings up all questions about colonialism, because obviously Morocco was colonized by many Western countries and didn't have the chance to be independent. But then, of course, the Moroccan argument is that this should be Moroccan territory because geographically it is attached to Morocco. There is a land border with Morocco and it's in North Africa. Now, in this respect, I'm kind of on the side of the Spanish, I'll admit, purely because we have the same argument for Gibraltar. And in that respect, I have to say the Spanish could be being a little bit hypocritical. I'm going to annoy any Spaniards watching this, because the same arguments, in my opinion, that they're using for Ceuta and their other African exclave, Melilla, which is further along the coast, are effectively the same arguments that the British are using for Gibraltar. Geographically, Ceuta is, of course, in North Africa. And in the same respect, Gibraltar is attached to Spain. However, just as the Gibraltarians argue that they want to be British because they feel British, that democratically they want to be British, the people in Ceuta also argue that they want to be part of Spain. And the geographical argument is an irrelevant one. However, Spain is also still claiming Gibraltar, which to me doesn't add up. So if there are any Spaniards watching this that want to enlighten me a little bit, please let me know.
What time did you leave?
So the man-made moat means that the old city of Ceuta is effectively an island. So it's already a peninsula of land extending out from North Africa into the Mediterranean Sea. But because they basically carved it, this channel, filled it with water, now the entire city is just, on its own. And it's a very long, thin peninsula. So you can basically walk from one end to the other or swim very quickly. So we just come outside the city walls, or on the opposite side of the peninsula to where we landed in the ferry earlier. And then from this side, you can see all the way stretching across, that's Morocco. So the border is only not far away. You can probably walk there. It's a couple of kilometers. And then the other side, that's where Morocco begins.
That city that we can see over there is the first one that you find when you cross the border.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's called Castillejos because it has a Muslim name, of course.
Yeah.
It's Efnidek. But if you ask someone from there, where are you from? They are going to tell you from Castillejos, because it's a name that came in from during the Africa's war, a lot of battles and the name of generals and all of this that participate in this war, put the names of the cities that we have here. First we have Castillejos, and at the end you can see there is a darker place over there. It's a cave, and it's called Cabo Negro. And if you go on the road, you will see the sign. It says Cabo Negro. It's not in Muslim. It's
Oh, right,
Cabo
it's in
Negro
Spanish.
in Spanish.
Oh, okay.
And Cabo Negro, El Rincón, it's another place. Rincón is like a corner, but it's all of this coming from the Africa's War.
Oh, right.
Africa's War was between 1859 and 1860. And when this war finished, it was established the border that we had with Morocco here in Ceuta and in Melilla, the other Spanish city. And they signed a peace treaty called Ouattara and established the border. But during a lot of years, the north of Morocco, it was Spanish.
Yeah. So
Till,
this was all-
till the independence
Yeah.
of Morocco.
Oh, in
till
1956.
Yeah.
So do many Moroccan people live in Ceuta?
No, they
Not
used
so
to
much.
come every day to buy everything because they have high taxes and we don't have VAT here.
So it's cheaper to buy
from
stuff here.
years, a lot of years, all the people, near from Ceuta, have come to Ceuta to buy everything. Everything is everything, from refrigerators to televisions, eggs, or
Eggs.
whatever.
The
food
eggs
and
were cheaper
everything.
here.
Yeah, because
Wow.
it's cheaper here for
Yeah.
them. At the moment, it's complicated,
Right.
for the border. What I told you that
Yeah, 'cause
you
it
can
takes a long time.
spend a long time to cross the border.
Yeah.
So it's different. But many years ago, everybody near from here come to Ceuta to buy
Right.
everything.
So because there's quite a large Muslim population here, right? So,
Yeah.
But they're Spanish, not
Yeah,
Moroccan.
people.
Yeah, they see
are
themselves as
Muslim,
Spanish.
but people from
okay.
Ceuta is Spanish.
Yeah.
They have the identity card, Spanish
Yeah.
identity card.
So Spanish
It doesn't matter
nationalism.
if they are Mohammed or Mustafa or Antonia.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But
You're all Spanish.
They are Spanish and live here.
Yeah.
We in Ceuta we have more or less 80,000 people living, and most of the people is Christian. But Muslim people is 43-45% of the population.
Okay.
Then we have a small community of Jewish people, maybe 500 or something like these people, and a small community of Indian people too.
All right.
Hindi,
So it's very
yeah.
Multicultural.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Of
Amazing.
course.
Yeah.
And everybody has, Muslims have the mosque, and we have the churches and the cathedral, and Indian people have, a small temple.
Do people speak Arabic? Because when we were on the ferry, I think some people were speaking Arabic
Yeah, but
or Berber
everybody
maybe. But
that
yeah.
is Muslim here speak Arabic.
A little bit of it. Yeah. Okay.
They
yeah.
speak Arabic and Spanish.
And Spanish, yeah.
And the people from Morocco in the places that are near the border, they speak Spanish.
Oh, right.
You don't have any problem. If you go, for example, you decided to cross just to have a walk to Tetuan. Tetuan is the biggest city near Ceuta. It's just 40 kilometers from here. And if you want to Tetuan, in Tetuan everybody speaks Spanish.
Okay. Tony was saying there's maybe 25% or something like that of the population are Muslim. So today is actually, the reason it's quite quiet on a Monday morning is because it's Eid. It's a public holiday just here in Ceuta, not anywhere else in Spain, purely because there's so many Muslims living here. So they all get a day off, they all celebrate regardless of whether they're Christian or Muslim. It's an interesting fact about the Eid holiday celebration here that's a public holiday now. Apparently that was introduced in 2010, it's not that long ago. And it was the first time since the Reconquista in the 1500s that a non-Christian holiday had been officially celebrated anywhere in Spain. So just in the central square, the sun has come out finally. And this is called Africa Square, this is Africa Plaza. Because we're in Africa. But this monument behind me is the monument to basically the African wars, which were fought 1859 to 1860 between Spain and what became the Kingdom of Morocco.
This monument commemorates the Africa's war that I told you over there.
Yes.
Okay, the one that when finished established the border with Morocco here and in Melilla, the other Spanish city. And just down the monument, there is a crypt with rest of some people who died during this war. And they were buried with the honors of a general. It doesn't matter if they were soldiers or lieutenants or sergeants. It doesn't matter. They were buried here with the honors of the highest level in the military rank. And sorry, the helicopter. It's over there.
So, going to Spain? Or going to mainland Spain, sorry?
Yeah. This is I told you that we have a helicopter to Algeciras and to Malaga. 5 minutes.
Oh, to Malaga
what you
as
have
well.
made to by ferry in your helicopter is just 5 minutes
And
to
Tony said
Algeciras.
that's how she flies somewhere. She'll get a helicopter to Malaga.
You take the
Yeah.
helicopter to Malaga?
Yeah, it's just half an hour.
Really?
So,
Is it expensive?
for example,
or-
I explained Claire that if you take the right combination, you can go from here to London in 4 hours.
Oh, right. That's not
Because
bad.
it's just half an hour to Malaga,
Yeah.
and if you don't have to wait in Malaga and take the flight to London,
Yeah.
to London it's 2 hours and a half or something like this from Malaga. So in 4
4 hours
hours
in London.
you can stay
Yeah.
there. So, it's
So
really
you
nice.
never feel like isolated, like you're cut
Not
off?
now,
Yeah.
not now. Maybe years ago, but at the moment we have 3 ferry companies: Armas, Balearia, and DFDS. So there is a fast ferry every half an hour, more or less, or every hour. If you are resident in Ceuta, you have a discount of 75%
On the
in
helicopter
price.
as well? Yeah. Oh,
I don't
nice.
want to take the fast ferry anymore. Yeah, because it's 1 hour and it depends of the weather.
Yeah.
You can make a nice cruise like this, or you
Well,
can make
That was today.
Today
Yeah.
was rough.
Yeah.
So,
You
yeah.
said
told
people
me.
were
Yeah.
throwing up on
Yeah,
the...
people in the toilets were throwing up
Yeah,
and
all the
overboard.
time. Oh my
yeah.
god, that's terrible.
It wasn't fun.
The smell, and if you
Yeah.
hear, oh my god. Okay, don't speak about this. And now we are going to cross. I'm not sure if the Africa's church is open. If it's open, we are going to go into to have a look.
This was Africa Church.
Yeah.
Africa Church, all right.
Makes sense. So we're in Africa.
No, the name is because the virgin that is inside is La Virgen de África. It's
Ah,
Africa's
okay.
virgin.
Africa's version.
And, ¿sabe usted a qué hora abre? A las 10. O sea que va a abrir ya, ¿no? It's 1 minute to open.
Oh,
So,
let's see.
come in and see.
Vámonos.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's golden.
That is very golden.
In Spanish, we said this kind of decoration, pan de oro, golden bread.
Pan de oro.
Okay, Hercules we have here, and we have another one over there. You can see at when it's the harbor song, just
yeah,
over there,
all the way
behind
back.
the palms, over there.
Another Hercules.
And, you know about the history of Hercules. He have to separate the Strait of Gibraltar. So he put a feet in Gibraltar and the other one here in Ceuta and push and separate the strait. Gibraltar is called Calpe, is the name in the myth.
Yeah.
And Ceuta is Avila. So Calpe and Avila, it was where finished in that ages they know about the Mediterranean Sea. From this part to the other side, to the Atlantic Ocean, they didn't know anything about this. So it was the end of the known world, okay? So he separates, and that's what he's making here. Separate the Strait of Gibraltar, represented in 2
I
columns.
see.
And
Yeah.
these columns are in the shield that we have in the middle of the Spanish flag. In the Spanish flag, in the middle, there is a shield with 2 columns, are the Hercules columns.
Oh, I didn't know that. Cool. So Tony's shown us around, and now she's gonna hook us up with a taxi driver, who's then gonna take us around the whole island. You can do like taxi tours here, basically. They cost 40 euros, and they're gonna take us up to the viewpoints on Mount Hacho, which is one of the fabled pillars of Hercules. And they're also gonna take us to La Frontera, to the border, so we can check out the divide between Morocco and Spain. However, we're having trouble finding a taxi driver. The majority of the taxi drivers are Muslim, so they're possibly on holiday. Aha, I think she's found us a vehicle.
Y ella habla un poquito de español, porque estudió en México. O sea que yo le he dicho que si ya quieren alguna cosa, pero son periodistas, si quieren alguna cosa en especial, que te digan, ¿vale? Además él es amigo, lo conozco del trabajo. Bueno.
Amazing.
Ah, sí,
Bueno,
vale,
es
perfecto.
40 euros, ¿sí?
40 euros.
Ok, bueno.
Venga.
Muchas
It
gracias.
has been a pleasure. De nada.
Thank you
Nice to meet you.
so much.
I will look for you in Instagram.
Yes, yes,
okay?
definitely.
Yes.
Have a good
Amazing.
day.
Thank you so much. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Hasta luego.
You're
Adiós.
All right.
Adiós.
Vámonos.
welcome. Muchas gracias.
¿Cómo te llamas?
Jesús.
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 Mucho gusto.
Mucho gusto.
Ay, por aquí viene el barco, ¿no ves? El barco de allí, el Balearia, y entra por ahí.
Sí, es
Se ve ahí.
de barco, sí.
Ahí está.
Oh,
Eso
that's
de
the
allí
boat
en
we took.
Marruecos.
Sí,
¿No ves
Morocco.
que se ve por las casas
Está
blancas,
ahí.
todo eso es Marruecos, Castillejo.
Okay, and Gibraltar, right?
Ahí.
Gibraltar está
Y
ahí.
esto es Gibraltar. Está la línea y Algeciras.
Oh, cool.
Sí, muy bonito.
Sí, hombre.
So we just come up with Jesus to Mirador de San Antonio, and from here you can see all the way across to Gibraltar and to the European continent. And this is what Tony was talking about down in the town. This is the pillars of Hercules. So Ceuta was home to one, and then Gibraltar was the other pillar of Hercules. And these basically marked the edge of the known world for the Mediterranean peoples, for the Greeks, the Romans, the Phoenicians. This is as far as they dared to venture, really. So we're pretty much at the end of the peninsula now. From the town that was down here, where we got on the boat, got off the boat this morning, you then come uphill, kind of like in Gibraltar, and then you can see all the way across to Morocco. Yeah, in the same way the British have held on to Gibraltar, you can kind of see why the Spanish aren't going to give up Ceuta. Not just because it's obviously a very Spanish city from what we've seen, because strategically this is one of the vital choke points of the Mediterranean, of the Straits of Gibraltar.
Yo nací aquí en Ceuta, pero en mi casa,
¿Sí?
no en el hospital. Antiguamente eran las casas.
Ah,
El
ok.
hospital no.
¿Viajas a
Sí,
Algeciras y
sí.
otros países
Sí,
en
mucho.
España? Sí.
Hace poco estaba en Madrid.
Sí.
Hace 15 días estaba viendo la Champions.
Ah,
Madrid, Real Madrid.
¿hay un equipo aquí?
Sí,
¿Sí?
aquí es Ceuta.
Ceuta
Ceuta.
equipo.
Sí, está en segunda división.
Ah, ok.
Oh, second
Está
division.
en segunda.
Lo mismo de nuestro equipo en Inglaterra.
Sí.
Sí, tenemos un equipo muy pequeño.
Ah,
See, Exeter.
Exeter.
Ah, Champions League. Yeah. Oh, Real Madrid versus Atletico. Yeah, sí. Yeah. I watched on television.
sí, de la Champions.
Cuando viajas a Madrid, necesitas ir a Málaga.
Sí,
Aeropuerto
no.
de Málaga.
No, cogí el tren, el AVE.
Ah,
El AVE
ok.
de Algeciras
Ah, ok.
a Algeciras, Madrid directo.
Ah, sí, es más rápido.
Sí, más
Sí.
rápido.
Right,
Mi mujer no le gusta el avión.
¿Y viajas mucho a Morocco?
Sí, Marruecos sí. Lo que pasa que ahora la frontera Marruecos
Ah, it's busy, crazy, loco.
Ocupado y difícil.
cuatro coches, 1 hora.
Ah,
To
Para
cross.
pasar.
sí.
Ah, so 1 hour to
Cuatro
cross.
coches delante y tú aquí así, 1 hora.
1 hora.
O 4 coches.
Sí,
Porque el
loco.
ordenador le da el pasaporte. Eso no vale.
sí. Entonces es
No.
tan difícil.
Digo,
Sí.
porque
por,
Marruecos
por
está
viajar.
muy bien. Antes yo iba casi todos los días. Iba para allá a merendar, venía, comía, volvía. Pero ya no se puede.
Sí, todo el día a la frontera.
Te pegas 3 horas, 4 horas en una cola.
Sí,
Eso es peor que México a Estados Unidos, peor.
sí.
What was that?
Las
Um,
colas que no veas.
It's it's just sort of 3 or 4 hours in the queue,
Yeah.
so you can't really go for the day
Yeah.
because you spend so long in the queue.
You spend all day queuing
Yeah.
rather than actually going to Morocco.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
Por eso no hay nadie, ¿no ves? No hay nadie.
Sí.
Yeah, it's
La
empty.
Ceuta desierta.
¿Dónde están las personas?
Las personas
En
están
la-
rezando en,
¿En
la
la
calle.
casa?
En la casa y rezando.
Everyone's at the mosque.
Por
yeah,
eso hoy
mosque.
no rezan ahí la mezquita. O rezan todos juntos.
Oh, so everyone crosses the frontier
Yeah,
to go to the bigger mosque
think
in
so, yeah,
Morocco
yeah.
for Ramadan. Ah, okay.
that's why it's so quiet.
Ah, I see. Yeah. So we're just driving through a Muslim
Todo
majority
esto es
district
militares, toda la legión.
and a
Todo
military
esto es de la
district.
legión, todo.
Sí.
Todo, de aquí para arriba, todo legionario.
Okay. Okay.
Oh yeah, this is all
Los militares.
military. We're getting closer to the frontera. But the Muslim majority area is empty because everyone's apparently over the border in Morocco for the end of Ramadan prayers today. That's where we were 20 minutes ago. Ah, sí. Es un territorio pequeño. So we've just come up to the viewpoint of Mirador Isabel II, I think. And from here you can see all of Ceuta behind me. So you can see just how narrow the peninsula is. So that's where we were about 20 minutes ago. We just driven all the way across from the top of the mountain, that's the Mount Achil, through the city and then up to the mountains that are now on the border, or la frontera, with Morocco. And you can't really see Gibraltar, but that would be that way. And then over this way is Morocco, the coastline. And these hills we've just come up maybe 200 or 300 meters, maybe 200 maybe. And the hills basically form the border with Morocco. I think we're going to drive a little bit closer and check it out.
Ahí está, y esto es la frontera.
So la frontera, along here,
La frontera.
en la mar.
Ay,
Sí,
esto es la
en Morocco.
frontera que aquí, ¿no ves?
Sí.
Y ya eso es Marruecos todo.
Ah, okay.
Todo eso es Marruecos todo.
Yeah. All Morocco, total Morocco.
Todo.
Sí. You could swim.
Esto es todo igual, Marruecos todo esto.
Made it to La Frontera. This is the most contested border in Spain. So we've just come down from the viewpoint, down from the mountains, and we're now on the northern shore, and we're right at the end of Spanish territory. We've come to a little town called Benzu, and I'm sure behind me you can see there's Eid celebration lights up on the streets there. So this is a Muslim town, Muslim village. It's very quiet. And right behind me is the border. This beach here is the border. And you can see there's a border fence running across the beach and out onto the rocks and pretty much into the oceans. You could literally swim from the Moroccan beach, there's a Moroccan beach on the other side, to the Spanish beach. But they've got fences, they've got guard towers, they've got railings up to stop people coming across. But you can see down there they've got huge loads of barbed wire, metal fences, there's some police cars down there. There's a couple of fishing boats on the beach, but no one's down here. And then the actual frontier itself is literally just a couple of meters down there. And you cross over, you're in Morocco, different country. So this border behind me is the border that the Moroccans basically want abolished. They want Ceuta back, and they want to get rid of these land borders and incorporate Ceuta into the Kingdom of Morocco. But from what we've been learning from the Spanish people here, they of course don't want that to happen. And while Ceuta certainly seems to be a mix of cultures and religions and languages and ethnicities, it is predominantly Spanish. And for that reason, the Spanish, of course, won't give it up. But it's not just contested in the sense that Morocco wants to take Ceuta back. The border is contested in the sense that this is one of the hotspots for migration into the European Union. And given all the right-wing rhetoric that's flying around the world right now, be it Trump, be it Nigel Farage in the UK, be it the right-wing parties gaining seats in elections in Germany, migration is the defining topic of 21st century politics. And for the European Union, this is one of the flashpoints for migration. It's quiet today at the end of Ramadan, but instances in the past have led to violence. You can Google it, you can look up YouTube videos, but on this border behind me, at times, there have been huge queues of refugees and migrants from sub-Saharan Africa who have tried to basically who have tried to enter European Union territory through this border, and at times, unfortunately, that has turned violent. It has turned nasty, and people have died on these spots here. I imagine people may have drowned crossing the rivers, and they've certainly been killed in crushes. But it's kind of a somber place to see in reality. It's such a nice, lovely, nice little beach, and then it's just divided by this unnatural border. But that's the way we've built the world. That's the way Europe has built the borders around it, even here on African soil. And yeah, it's sad to think that so many people just trying to find a better life for themselves, or fleeing conflicts or war, or just looking for something new, really, have been stopped by this border fence. Obviously, I understand that, you know, migration needs to be controlled, even if it's just for political reasons, to appease people. But still, it's only when you come to places like this, where you can actually see the border itself, that you actually start to realise what the borders mean, and what that line in the sand, or in this case, this barbed wire fence across the beach, actually means in reality. You know, on this side is Spain, that side is Morocco, this side is the European Union, that side is North Africa. So the reason this is so quiet is because this isn't the main border into Morocco. Apparently that's actually on the other side of the peninsula, in a place called Principe, which is the Muslim majority district of Ceuta. So that explains why it's a bit quiet, as well as Ramadan and Eid, etc. Yeah, it's a bizarrely peaceful place for a place that has seen such at times such a force of human migration trying to overturn this. And it's interesting to see what the future for places like this really holds in the European Union. And it's the toehold of Spain in North Africa, and the gateway to Europe. ¿Hay problema con migrants?
Migración.
No. Lo que pasa es que los niños chicos empiezan a nadar, ¿sabes?
They swim.
Para acá, y hace bug y se ahoga.
Oh, so they try and swim.
Porque hay mucha corriente. Ahí hay mucha corriente del agua, mucha corriente. Entonces tú nada, pero no avanza. Y hace puff. Muerto.
Oh, muerte. So it's dangerous, deadly.
Hace poco, tres muertos.
Tres.
Hace una semana.
In 1 week, 3 people dead.
Una semana.
Oh, wow.
Sí.
¿Cuándo? When? Is that the right word?
Hace una semana, la semana pasada.
Oh, last week?
Sí, la semana
wow.
pasada, sí.
Huh.
Han entrado 25.
25.
Han entrado 25 niños.
Oh, 25 children.
25 niños de Marruecos nadando. Y se han ahogado 3. 3 abajo, ahogados.
That's so sad.
Eso todos los días. Ahora porque fin de Ramadán, fiesta. Pero todos los días, cuando buen tiempo, todos los días nada. Entran 10, 12, 20.
Oh, wow. It's very sad. Yeah, that's the harsh reality of this frontera. You're saying that every week several people die trying to swim across from Morocco to Spain. Today, because it's Ramadan, no one's trying it, he thinks, but normally every week there's fatality too. Sad to see that brings the reality of borders home, I think.
Hoy es fin de Ramadán, han puesto hoy todo aquí a rezar.
Okay. Pero normalmente hay...
Esto normalmente los coches, es para los coches para entrar a Marruecos.
Sí.
Si para entrar a Marruecos tiene que entrar por aquí. Te dan un ticket, sale y después entras para la frontera. Si no, no puede entrar.
Entiendo. Okay, so you've got to go there. If you want to go in a car over the border, you need to go there and get a ticket.
Oh, okay. Before you cross the border?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's like a customs post or something.
Por ejemplo, yo quiero entrar a Marruecos, tengo que ir para acá. Voy, paso, aguanto, me da un ticket y ya con el ticket para acá, para la frontera. está la frontera.
Ah, la frontera está aquí.
Sí.
Ah, okay.
okay.
Sí, sí, sí.
Yeah, so this is the main border crossing
Yes, sí.
into Morocco.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Ah, I get it. So you get your ticket,
Yeah.
you clear
Eso es
customs
Marruecos.
there, and then go this
Eso de
way.
allí, Marruecos.
Okay,
Morocco is
todo
just
esto Morocco.
Y esto es todo frontera española.
Ah, okay.
Sí, Spanish border.
Y no ve allí enfrente, donde los arcos, no ve unos arcos allí,
Ujú.
allí enfrente. Eso es Marruecos, la frontera de Marruecos.
Right.
Que está, ¿lo ves? Esta también es la bandera de Marruecos.
The flag of Morocco. Yeah. Y normalmente es mucha gente, muchos coches,
Por
muchos
aquí sí, claro.
buses.
Sí, sí. Pero los coches llegan hasta aquí, ya está.
Ah,
Hasta aquí ya está. Arriba ya llaman por aquí, no más coches, no hay más coches. Si no, ¿no ves? Toda esta es la frontera.
There you go, there's
Por
the
ahí es donde
frontier.
entran de Marruecos.
see Moroccan flag there.
Oh yeah, the
And
Moroccan
the
flag's
flags
over that way.
And aquí
And
está España.
and now
Sí, sí.
we are España.
Esto es España, España. ¿Lo ves? Está por aquí, está toda la frontera, está abajo de todo. Está cerrado, ¿no ves? Esto es de la Guardia Civil, todo.
Sí.
The barbed wire fences over there.
Los niños también entran nadando por aquí, hasta aquí abajo del todo. Y aquí se ponen la piedra para coger, ¿no ves? Ahí en la playa, ahí se ponen los niños, entran por aquí y se ponen hasta aquí, ¿no ves? De ahí a Marruecos no hay mucho.
Sí, sí.
I was saying they try and swim across from Morocco onto this beach here. The kids and the boys think they
Todo
can
esto es
swim
nuevo,
and
¿eh?
then get swept
Todo esto
out.
tiene...
You can see how
Just there.
tide's out there.
Está tranquila.
No,
está...
aquí tranquila, aquí. Y aquí vivimos hindú, musulmanes, cristianos, chinos, aquí de todo.
Sí,
Y aquí nos llevamos bien.
todo viajando en paz.
De toda la vida, ¿eh? De toda la vida, no
Bueno.
de ahora, de toda la vida.
Toda la vida, bueno,
Nos
bueno.
llevamos bien.
Bueno, always in peace.
No,
Always in
eso
peace,
es...
sí.
Me parece a mí que es la única ciudad de todo el mundo que tiene tanta cultura y se lleva tan bien.
Ah,
La única.
sí, está bien.
Porque...
Está bien.
Yeah, all the world comes to Ceuta.
Sí, sí.
Lives here in peace.
Muchísimas gracias.
Cool, muchas gracias,
Mucho
Jesus.
gusto.
Es muy interesante
Sí.
en Ceuta.
Muchas gracias.
So yeah, really interesting but slightly sad insight into the border, La Frontera in Ceuta. I mean, hearing the stories from Jesus, who's lived here his whole life, about how every day there's people attempting to swim across illegally and then drowning in the waters, was, it's a little bit tough to deal with that, really. Especially when you come along and there's these beautiful beaches in Ceuta, like Playa Ribera, where you can sunbathe and swim presumably quite safely in the little bay. But then just over the border, just a mile or so that way, is people trying to get into Europe for a better life. And to be honest, I know people will disagree with me, but I don't really blame them for trying. I know that if I was in their position, and probably anyone else watching this would probably do exactly the same thing. Because that's what people do. People move. People change places. They go from one place to another. That's what humans have done for our entire existence, from when we were nomads and hunter-gatherers to today. And that's never going to stop. You can't ever stop that, but you do need to find ways to help people to do it safely. Of course, I also don't want to detract from coming to a place like Ceuta that has such a fascinating geopolitical history, and is really quite a beautiful city that's very underrated. But if you do come here, I think you should also. There's no reason not to visit the frontier, as we did in the little taxi tour. Anyone can do that, and just to get a little bit of insight into what life is like here for the people that live on this side of the border, and again for the people that are trying to cross that border as well. I think you can't remove the border from Ceuta. The border, the frontera is Ceuta. And Claire from Claire's Footsteps, who's joining me in Ceuta today, she was saying that she is going to be donating about 10% or some number of her profits from her YouTube videos that she'll be making about our visit here to a charity in Ceuta that helps migrants and refugee communities. I currently don't make any money from YouTube. I'm doing this all for free. But if I was making money, I would also donate some of that profit. However, I will leave a link to a local charity or a international charity that's appropriate, where you may donate if you so desire. That is Ceuta. But before we head back to the ferry and cross the Straits of Gibraltar again to get to Algeciras, we're just going to head up Avenida Africa, where we've seen on the map that there's a mosque. And so it'll be interesting to give you guys a little bit of a Islamic perspective on Ceuta, given that they do form a minority in the city, and that Ceuta is home to the highest proportion of Muslims in any Spanish city. We're not holding out too much hope, because I think we drove past this one earlier and it looked shut. And our guide, Jesus, did say that a lot of the mosques around here are closed today because everyone's sort of celebrating Eid, actually over the border in Morocco at one of the larger mosques, because there's a mosque over there that can hold tens of thousands of people. But we'll head along. It's kind of on the way back to the ferry port, so we'll see what we can find. I think we're getting closer, because I just found some Arabic graffiti. Let's continue up Avenida Africa. Aha! So we have found it. Here is one of Ceuta's mosques. It's a very, I've seen these rectangular towers in a lot of places in North Africa, of course, in Tunisia. I've seen a lot of them. You possibly get them in Morocco and places as well. So this is in Spanish, Mezquita de Moulay El Mehdi. I think the Mehdi is the one of the imams who is said to return in the Shia faith, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So there you go. Again, the door's closed shut, so yeah, it looks closed, unfortunately. So it seems like the gates are locked. We're going to pop in and see if we can chat with the imam or something like that. It's probably in broken Spanish and English. So my Arabic's not too good. But it looks like, unfortunately, it's closed, which is a bit surprising considering it's the day off, one of the holiest days in the Islamic calendar. But like we were told earlier, I guess everyone's heading off elsewhere for their celebrations. A shame it's cerrado, but at least evidence that Islam is alive in this Spanish city, which is a very rare thing to find in a city in Spain, given this is a very robustly Catholic nation for the most part. Yeah, another interesting reason to visit Ceuta. But as well, that's not the only mosque in Ceuta. There are several others. The largely Muslim majority area is a place called Principe, which is right by the frontera. And we kind of drove through a little bit earlier and saw some of the Islamic cemeteries and some of the mosques as well. Unfortunately, we didn't have much time, so we're only here on a day trip. But the next time I come back, I'm possibly going to try and do a whole video just about the Principe area, because I've seen a lot of YouTubers like talking about it, saying it's the most dangerous area in Spain. I think it's because of a lot of Spanish television portrays the area as like packed with gangsters and drug dealers and probably illegal immigrants. And to be honest, I can't see that really being the case. Ceuta seems like a rather pleasant place otherwise. So yeah, it'd be good to get back here and then spend a bit more time over in the Muslim majority areas, seeing as I've now sort of explored all of the more typically Spanish parts of Ceuta. But that is a video for another time and another trip. And yeah, right now, just heading back to the ferry terminal where we arrived earlier this morning. We've got a ferry to catch back to the mainland. And hopefully we'll have a better view of the Straits of Gibraltar than we did this morning in the pitch black darkness, which seems like a lifetime ago, I'm not gonna lie. So that's it, we're underway. And interestingly, on the way out of Ceuta, they do check your passport. And they were asking us if we came into Spain today, presuming we'd crossed the border at Morocco. In fact, we crossed the border yesterday when we were in Gibraltar. It took them a while to find the stamps and realise that we came in from La Linea. So they are a bit more on it when you're trying to leave Ceuta, because once you're out of Ceuta, you're in Europe proper, you're in the European Union. And with the ongoing migrant crises and problems with immigration, etc., on the borders here and elsewhere, it's a big issue. But we're underway again, crossing the Straits of Gibraltar, leaving Ceuta behind. And what a day trip it was. I finally got myself a nice cold beer about 12 hours after we started this morning in the dark. And now it's glorious sunshine. Ceuta might be a tiny territory, but it is fascinating. It's one of the most interesting geopolitical oddities I've ever visited, at least in Europe. And if you're ever on the south coast of Spain, I'd recommend catching a ferry across to the Spanish North African enclave. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time when I'll be taking a train from Algeciras to Ronda.